It all started on the night of March 3rd, 2021. Alexa, a 28-year-old woman with a bright future ahead of her, was at home. She had gone to bed early, exhausted from a long day, but deep into the night, she felt a strange sensation, something cold brushing against her leg. She jolted awake, only to see a snake lying on her bed. Terrified, she tried to push it away, but before she could react, the snake struck, sinking its fangs into her ankle. Alexa screamed as a burning pain shot up her leg. Her family rushed her to the hospital, where doctors quickly identified the snake as a Russell's viper, one of the most venomous species in the world. It was a close call, but after days of intensive treatment and multiple surgeries, Alexa pulled through. She had survived the unthinkable, but little did she know this was just the beginning of a nightmare that would change her life forever. Just 2 months after Alexa returned home, another terrible event took place. On the night of May 12th, Alexa went to bed, exhausted. She drifted off, unaware of the sinister plot unfolding around her. The next morning, her family noticed something strange. Alexa, who usually woke up early, was still asleep. Hours passed, and still no sign of her. Growing anxious, her mother decided to check on her. She opened Alexa's bedroom door, and what she saw was a sight she would never forget. Alexa was lying motionless, her body unusually cold, her skin a haunting shade of blue. Desperate to revive her, her mother shook her, but there was no response. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but it was too late. Alexa was gone. To their horror, they found a small puncture mark on her wrist, and in a nearby corner of the room there was a cobra coiled up, motionless. The snake was quickly killed, but the question remained: how had it gotten into her room, and was it the cause of her death? When the autopsy report came back, it confirmed their worst fears. Alexa had indeed died from a cobra bite, but there was an unsettling twist. The report revealed traces of sleeping pills in her system. This new detail set off a wave of suspicion and raised one critical question: was Alexa's death an accident, or had someone deliberately planned it? The family filed a police report, desperate for answers. Thankfully, the lead investigator, Detective Rajan, took a personal interest in the case. He had known Alexa's family for years, and he was determined to get to the truth. Detective Rajan and his team started their investigation by visiting Alexa's house. They examined her room, noting that it was on the second floor with sealed windows and air conditioning. There were no open entry points, and no sign that the cobra could have entered on its own. This meant only one thing: someone had intentionally placed the snake in Alexa's room. The family immediately suspected Dominik, Alexa's husband. Although he had been by her side during her first snakebite incident, his behavior had been erratic ever since. The police began looking into his background, and what they found was shocking. Upon checking Dominik's phone and computer, they discovered that in the days leading up to both snake bites, he had been researching venomous snakes. More specifically, he had been reading about the exact species that had attacked Alexa, the Russell's viper and the cobra. The police also found records of him contacting a local snake handler named Salim. This wasn't just a coincidence. It was the missing link the investigators needed. The police tracked down Salim and questioned him about his dealings with Dominik. Under pressure, Salim confessed that Dominik had bought 2 snakes from him, a Russell's viper for $150 and a cobra for $200. Dominik had been very specific in his requests, even asking Salim for tips on handling the snakes. The detectives continued their search and discovered a plastic container hidden in the basement. It had small air holes and faint traces of snake scales inside. They sent it to the forensic lab, and the results were damning. Not only did the tests confirm that a snake had been stored inside, but Dominik's fingerprints were also all over it. It was now clear. Dominik had been planning this for months, carefully executing each step of his diabolical scheme. With all the evidence against him, Dominik was brought in for questioning. The police laid out their findings, and after hours of interrogation, Dominik finally broke down. He confessed to the horrifying truth. He had married Alexa for her family's wealth. The dowry he had received included a luxury car, thousands of dollars, and monthly allowances. But after a year, he grew tired of her and wanted out. However, divorcing her would mean losing half of his assets. Driven by greed, Dominik decided to end Alexa's life in a way that would appear natural. Dominik explained that he knew Alexa had a fear of snakes, and he believed he could use this to his advantage. He thought that if he staged her death as a snake bite, no one would suspect him. He went to great lengths to make it look like an accident, using sedatives to ensure Alexa wouldn't wake up when he released the cobra in her room. It was a twisted and calculated plan. But Dominik had underestimated the determination of the investigators. With his confession in hand, the police had all the evidence they needed. Dominik was charged with murder, and the case went to court. The judge, appalled by the gruesome details, sentenced Dominik to life imprisonment and a substantial fine. Justice was served, but for Alexa's family, the pain of her loss was something they would carry forever. A dark reminder. This tragic story is a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest threats come not from strangers, but from those closest to us. It's a wake-up call to always be vigilant and cautious about the people in our lives. Betrayal, greed, and deception can be hiding behind even the most familiar faces. Thank you for staying with us through this haunting tale. If this story shook you, please hit the like button, share it with friends, and remember to subscribe for more gripping stories. Let us know in the comments. Could you ever imagine someone going to such lengths for money? Stay safe, and until next time, keep your eyes open.